là kiến thức đâu quy bây giờ các bạn cũng không biết đúng không, bao nhiêu đường sữa.
All right, good afternoon, guys. We shall start now. Hey, if you have anything, then we will discuss over here, okay, on your question paper. And yes, there will be recording. Okay, I will send it to your lecturer later on for both session, which is on the 21st and also the 14th, right? I'll send to your lecturer. I think you can actually refer back to your lecturer on this, right? Hey, so I see that your classmate have mentioned that we discuss the final first before we go for the revision. Is it okay with the rest of you guys?
I think it's okay.
Yes, speaking on behalf of all the students. Just kidding. Yeah, I think it should be fine for me. Gonna start the question paper first, then only we go for the revision. But the revision will actually talk about some examples and so on, what is actually required in the question paper and so forth, right? Okay, there is only about 28 of us in here. Shall we start without waiting for the rest of it to come?
I think we can start now.
Okay, thank you very much for your confirmation. Hey, let's do the recording, right? Okay. Very good afternoon. This is MGT212, Part 2 revision. Okay, we can look into the question paper. I think you guys already have received the question paper, which is actually tabulated in the LMS on the 26th of May, right? So it's already been 2 days. I think quite a number of you guys having some issue on the questions and so forth. Anyhow, we're going to look into it, how we can settle and also discuss on the questions that you might have. So along the way, if you do have any questions, please list it down first. There will be a question and answer session. In the question and answer session, then you can switch on your mic and ask me, right? I will try my best to answer you directly, right? Because it's only a discussion based on the question paper that you are unclear, not asking about your coursework. Can you use this data to do this objective and so forth, right? So you have to understand the differences of when we say that we can answer you some of the question and so forth. So in here, the agenda 2, we have a revision and also project discussion. So since you guys say you want to start off with project discussion first, we are not going to do the revision now. We only do after the project discussion, right? So give me a minute. Let me roll over to the project discussion. Okay, this will be your project discussion. And let's see what you actually have in the project discussion. Okay, first thing is that it's an individual project. Okay, so let's look into what the question requirements is all about. Okay, so here the question says there is only one section. Okay, consists of 4 sub questions: data sets and ethic, descriptive, predictive, and also prescriptive. So this is the 4 sub questions that is actually tabulated in the question requirement. Okay, let's look at the questions, see whether you see the same thing or not, right? Go through the LMS. Okay, this is your question paper, right? So you already see that. It says that one section only, answer all questions, and you're supposed to submit the answer via LMS. So the format, so on, Now, let's look at the questions here. Project individual. Your assessment will be examined based on the complete work solution and ability of using method available in the learning material. So use your own words or example. See that we already highlighted the word, use your own words and example, okay, whenever necessary to express your understanding and also your critical mind. So in the other word, like I told you in the previous week, your final doesn't relate to only one chapter. If you to go through the question, you understand that it's actually answering things like your ethics, which is covered in chapter 14, right? And then B, C, and D is covered from chapter 3 onwards, right? So you are talking about the descriptive, which is your question B. Predictive is your question C, and your question D will be your prescriptive. Let's look into the questions here. The question says, you as a business analyst working in a fashion industry. So in the other word, you can actually find any data set which is belong to fashion industry. All right. Don't go and give your answer based on a fitness center and so on. So fitness is not in fashion unless you say that the fitness clothing, like now the hot topic that people are talking about is pickleball. And pickleball, what kind of dress that they actually use? Are they going to wear just normal t-shirt and shorts for the game, or they actually wear a proper attire in pickleball and so forth? And this is some of the fashion that you can actually talk about. That's why I say it's related to fashion industry. So that means that you can also go to any of the branded company who create fashion, like for instance G2000. If let's say you can find the data from the sponsored data set in the internet, yes, by all means use them. I know that one of your classmates also have mentioned that they're having challenges, especially when you're searching for data. In fact, searching of data is one of the fundamental that all business analysts are supposed to learn, where to get all this data. That's why we encourage students to use the actual data, meaning that you get it from the internet and so forth. So I also did mention in the previous revision, we're talking about individual assignment, that the URL that you're going to access and the data that you're going to use, you have to be careful that you do not fall into some of the trap. Like for instance, the synthetic data, the dummy data, the sample data, and fake data, and so on. All these are part and parcel that you have learned throughout your syllabus. So that's why you see, you have to learn how to bring that into your answer. Like for instance, the answers here says that, the questions requirement says that search the internet for a sponsored data set. So who are the sponsored data set? One of it will be Kaggle.com, right? So please do not just copy the URL as Kaggle.com, a generic data link set, and put it into your answer. You make sure that you know where you actually collected the data, and then click on that particular website and paste that particular URL into your answer. So this is where your assignment individual have already brought you the experience how to do that. That's why you see in your assignment one itself, nothing much difference. The only difference is that we have segregated it into a fashion industry, rather than in your individual assignment is that you can actually use any kind of industry, right? So here we only require one single industry, which is fashion industry, all right? And then select one data set. That means you only require to have one data set, and you don't need to have a lot of data set. If you put a lot of data sets inside there, and make sure that you do not use those data set, because if you use the data set, marks will not be able to award better for you, because we want you to have only one single data set. Because why? In earlier, a lot of students say that it's very hard to get two different data sets to create your objective. So in the final itself, it's supposed to be much more easier. That's why we put on it one data set rather than we want you to go and find another data set which is related to your topics and so on. So one data set for your whole entire answer. Now, how do you actually know that the data set is suitable or not? That's why you see in your individual assignment also, we already have required you learn how to read the data set. So during the last week revision, I also did mention that make sure that you learn how to read the author, what they actually have mentioned inside there. So from there itself, you'll be able to identify, okay, from the notes that given by the author, you'll be able to know that what data is actually in the sample and so forth that you can download and use, right? So you have to briefly describe the practices of data ethics you make. Now, a lot of students make the mistake is that when they write the ethic, they are talking about the company, they are talking about Kaggle and so forth. Now, look at the words there. It says that you make. And who are you? You are the business analyst. So you have to know your ethic. You have to write what you're supposed to do and what you have done and so on. Now, I think in individual assignment also, I did mention about students who actually careless mistake, like for instance, changing the data set's name and so forth. So in here, it applies the same. So if you were to change the data set name and so on, you are actually not doing it correctly, right? So in the other word means that you have done what you call the data integrity. So data integrity is very important because once you change the data set name, I do not know what data you have removed, added, or changed inside that particular data set. So this is where you actually have to learn how to be more ethical when handling data, especially when you start working in the future. Please don't amend people's data. Don't change people's data. All right? Because why? Those data are not created by you. It could be created by one of your department. It could be created by one of the company, or it can be a data that is actually come from the internet and so on. So please do not do that. You have to learn your ethic. This is why the ethic is actually being put up into these questions. All right? So how you answer that, I am unable to tell you that what you should write and so on. All right. Now, further down, you'll be able to see that limited to 100 wordings on it. So in the other word, it's 10 marks, okay, for this session. And bear in mind, if let's say exceeded 100 wordings, marks will be deducted. Okay, so you have to be very careful what you need to write regarding the ethic. Okay. Now, question B. Based on the selected data, perform a relevant data analysis task using data mining technique such as classification, association, time series, clustering, etc. You need to create the BI reporting to achieve two different analysis objectives. So in the other word, you need to do two different objectives, right? So you know what's called objective, right? In earlier on the individual assignment, you also have two objectives, but based on two different data. But now you only need one data to create two objectives. Okay, so let's go into an examples. Like for instance, you're talking about the data that you have collected. Okay, it actually shows you the profit and loss. So you can actually have two different kind of objectives talking about the profit and also the loss. Right? You can separate it and put it into your objective. Now, the presentation must include insight screenshot that use as snipping tools in Windows 11 and the assumption that you have made about the descriptive analysis which can benefit the decision maker from the relevant department in your company. All right. So here also is limited to 700 wordings only and is carry 14 marks. Now, how 14 marks? So you'll be able to understand that each objective itself will carry 20 marks because you need to have two different objectives. Furthermore, it says that the presentation must, so in the other word, you must put in a visualization into your supportive of your objective. So in the other word, you have one objective called profit, and then you must have a created visualization to support the objective, right? And the next objective that you have is the losses. You need to have another visualization to support that particular objective. And the question didn't ask you to create dashboard or reports. We're only interested for you to create the visualization. So in the other word, in your PBIX file, you can put two visualization into one page, or if you wanted to be each and every of the page will be one of the answer. Like for instance, the objective one you put into page one, then the objective two you put into page two, and the following. All right. So bear in mind, this is the requirement. No dashboard, no report. You can put everything into one page itself, or you can separate them into different pages as you like. Because why? That PBIX file is required for you to be submitted in the LMS as well. So meaning that that is your supportive to tell that you are the one who created that particular research and also visualization instead of asking or download it from somewhere or somebody given you from the internet and so on. All right. So this is where we will be identified that you are the rightful owner who actually do that particular analysis and so on. Now, there is a question also posted by one of your classmates and saying that data mining techniques such as classification, association, time series, and clustering, etc., etc., etc. All right, I am saying to tell you that such as means it's just only an example. If you don't use any of these, it's fine. You can also do impact analysis if you wanted to talk about the impact regarding your profit and also your loss. So it's not required for you to do this. I'm just telling you that your analysis task you can actually do using classification, or you can use it for association, or use it as a time series. And then further question from your classmate was mentioning that whether he or she, I wouldn't know, he go to the internet and found out that if you wanted to do all these things, you requires further enhancement. Like for instance, must learn how to use Python. Now, in this subject, did we actually include in Python? No, right? Now, in this subject, we only ask you to use Power BI. Now, in Power BI, no doubt that you can actually incorporate Python to create your visualization. But is it covered in your syllabus? Not really, right? So in the other word means that you forget about what you actually search from the internet to tell you that you need to use Python or use anything else. Forget about it, all right? Your most important part is that in your syllabus itself, what is it being covered? Now, let me ask you a question. In your syllabus itself, the chapter did cover classification, did cover association, did cover what you call time series as well under data mining. So in the other word, you don't understand what is called data mining. Now, this is the things that you need to understand. We only evaluate what you have studied in the syllabus, not asking you to do some wonders which is out from the syllabus. Okay, so please forget about what you actually found from the internet, ask you to use other kind of application to create them and so forth. No, you only need to do your objective and support what your objective have based on descriptive analytics. You know what's called descriptive analytics, right? Later in revision, we will explain deeper into this part. Okay, that is your part B. Part C. Based on the above insight gain. So in the other word, your BI analysis done, your descriptive analytics done based on the two different objectives, which is my example. I tell you, is one is profit, the other one is loss. So make two logical prediction based on this. So in the other word, you're going to do a prediction based on the profit itself. Because why? You know that you have certain top profit, then how your profit will going to have in the future. This is what your prediction have to do. Talking about the second objective, your loss. You're going to project what kind of losses that you have in the same period of time that you're going to do for your first objective. So in the other words, if let's say the first objective, you're talking about the next 2 quarters, right? What will be the profit? Your losses will be talking about the next two, the next following 2 quarters. So this is where you need to identify. This is what they call the predictive. Now, I know that you were going to ask, sir, looks like predictive is not being taught in any of your lab session. But then again, in the chapter itself, we did talk about prediction, right? How prediction are being done, how actually you can raise up a prediction and so forth. Good question. We did not cover that in your lab. Because why? From your lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, lab 4, you did not see anything called prediction, right? But then in lab 4 itself, that is a part we actually encourage students to explore more. I don't know whether you actually realize that or not. When we say explore more means that there are 40 over visualization options in your Power BI. Have you actually checked every one of them? You see, the lab session is just only going through the basic of how to use Power BI and what you can do with Power BI. The rest of it, we ask you to explore. So in the other word, you need to learn. You need to learn on yourself and you need to find the exploration, what other things you can do in Power BI, right? So this is your question C. Now, two logical prediction with visual analytics for the managers of the relevant department to achieve both analysis objective, that means the profit and loss, for example. You may include, you see, we did not say that it's a must to include, but you may include. So the best is that you must have a graph so that you can actually support your prediction, right? If you do not actually put in a graph and you just write, you may not get the full marks or you may not get a better marks. The maximum you're going to have is just only partial of the marks. Like for instance here, 30 marks for two logical prediction, meaning that you have 15 and 15 marks for each of the prediction. So if you have a proper visualization with a good explanation, okay, which is related to your answer B, okay, you may actually get a higher or better marks. All right. So if let's say you only write about a prediction that is related to the answer B, okay, you will only get partial of the marks. You won't get full marks, right? Now, so this is how your questions are being calculated. And part C is your prediction, right? Now, I didn't say wrong thing because I say it's related to your B, right? And you also know that the prediction is related to the descriptive answer in your objective. So that's mean from B itself is related to C. Now you see that from A, it related to B is your data set. The B related to your C is the descriptive analysis. Now, when it comes to D, your D will relate to your C, prediction analysis. Now, let's look into the prescriptive. I think during the lecture, one of the chapter did says that the prescriptive is the combination of your descriptive plus your predictive, right? So this is why you need to understand that in your last question D, the prescriptive analytics takes the predictive data to the next level. So based on your answer C, if your answer C is correct, your answer D most likely will get a more than half a mark, right? More than half of the marks that is supposed to be given. So let's see how it goes. Based on the above prediction, may recommend 2 logical action you can take to affect those outcome and outline with the potential implication what for the each of them. So in the other word, from the 2 logical prediction itself, you create 2 logical action. So that's mean basing on the prediction, like how many percent of it is going to be improved, okay, based on the losses, what are your action? Based on the profit, okay, what are the next action that you're going to do? That means there is 2 action that you need to come up with the outcome. So in your assignment individual, we have something called the outcome, right? And then that is the outcome that we are referring to. So in the other word, by looking at it, yes, the question sounds very challenging, but then end of the day, after I have explained to you all these, you already have done in your assignment 1 and also your assignment 2, which is your assignment group and also your assignment individual, right? It's just that how was actually being rephrased and so on. In fact, the final project should be easier than the continuous assessment, right? Now, what you need to look up for, the warning here, okay, student must adhere with the following instruction. Students should thoroughly read through the question requirement to avoid going off topic. Why off topic? Initially, I did explain to you already, right? Fashion industry. So make sure that you do not fall out from here. All right. So that's why off topic. So you actually write something wrong or you actually selected the wrong industry, and that's where the issue goes off. Right? It's actually specified industry. Else, no marks will be given. Second point, students are not allowed to use any material, topics, or resources discussed during the lecture or the lab. So please don't use the lab session that we use best place for retirement or superstore and so forth. Luckily, these 2 data are not related to your industry. That's mean your fashion, right? So in the other word, hardly you should be able to use that particular data to be one of your data set use, right? So these include the related superstore at the best or the worst state of retirement. So else, no marks will be given. Third point, submission of BI report, which is your PBIX, and the original data set file, either it's an Excel file or it's a CSV file, okay, with a valid URL as proof of origin is compulsory. So no marks will be awarded if it's unclear resources, right? So you better be careful if, let's say, you put in the wrong URL or you put in the generic URL and you're unable to find your data set, no marks will be awarded. And the last warning will be the synthetic, fictional, or sample data set are not accepted. All right. So you have to be careful on these 4 points. Submission. Please upload all required documents into a soft copy into your LMS. Only soft copy. There's no hard copy. If you're going to submit hard copy, marks will not be awarded. All right. Submission of any other format will not be accepted. Now, first thing is that you're going to have your assignment content, which is the document, DOCX. So in the other word, you have to write your answer in the DOCX and also paste the visualization into your Words document. All right. So data set like a SLXX or your CSV and so forth must be included. There's only one data set, right? Please submit only one data set. Power BI report, you only need to submit the Power BI report. So regardless whether it's a dashboard or it's the reporting, it's not important. Important part is that you must tell us that to prove that you are the one who do the visualization and put it inside your PBIX file. Now, all work submitted must be original. Okay, where an assignment exceeded the word limit, a penalty of 1% will be based. That's why I told you that already have word limits written there, like your question A is 100, question B is 700, and so forth. So you please make sure that you are writing within the limit. Now, a lot of students were going to ask, sir, must it be exact 100 or exact 700 and so forth? Actually, no, right? You can write lesser than that, but if you write more than that, anything above 10% of the limit, then the full percentage will be calculated to deduct your marks. Right? So in the other word means if let's say it's 100 the words, you give me 110 words, no marks will be deducted. If you give me 111 words, we're going to deduct 11% of your 10 marks. Right? So that means 1 point. So you have to be careful with this. Now, what if let's say I under wording? So if 100, I only give you 10 wording. Can it be accepted? Definitely can. But then again, you also need to understand, if we require you to write 100 wording means that we require you to have certain contents or points to be given. If you only give us 10 words, how much marks you can actually get, right? So this is where you have to understand of this. And second thing is that please don't abuse and says that, sir, you give me 10% of the buffer for my number of wordings. Why cannot? Actually, we did not say that is your buffer. Right? So you have to bear in mind that trying to control your own writing, make sure that it write within that particular limit. All right? Students are not required to submit any assignment cover page, answer booklet page, question paper page, or question answer, and so forth, or even the assessment criteria. Please do not include them into your submission of your assignment content. So all you have to do, page 1 of your Words document, answer for A, right? Whatever answer. Then you move on page 2, right? Your answer on page 2, right? Then page 3, right? Your answer C for page 3 and so forth, right? So this is how you actually put in your answer. I know that sometimes when you put in the pictures and so forth, it will be more than one page, right? So that's why I say that answer every of your question in a fresh page will be good, okay, rather than you actually put all into one single page. Sometimes the lecturer may have hard time marking and seeing all your points and so on. All right. So even on your points yourself, like for instance, there are 2 objectives. Make sure that you divided them into 2 different paragraphs, right? So minimum of 2 paragraphs. If let's say you have others to explain and so forth, you can put it into additional paragraphs and so on, all right? So this is how you actually do it. Now, why do we not allow you to put in cover page and so forth? Because all these will carry a percentage in your similarity. So when you submit to turn it in, you get higher similarity. And you're only given 20% of your similarity. So if you're going to put in a page, it will easily cover you about 5%. Then you have another 15% to write. So that's why I say it's best that please do not put in all this cover page or the assessment question or the question paper page or even copy the question inside your answer. All right? All these will carry the percentage of the similarity. Now, student may put references at the end of each of the question answer, but it's not compulsory. So students are advised not to insert citation in the answer. Now, this is quite surprisingly. A lot of people will ask, sir, in assignment 1, you want us to put in all the citation. In assignment 2 was not mentioned. It just only requires the URL. And now the final, we are not advised to put in citation. What is the motive behind it? The motive is that no doubt we give you 14 days on your assignment. It's best that you do it on your own. Remember the first phrase that actually based on your question that says that use your own wording or examples? Yes, I think you remember that, right? So why we actually put that in is that we want students to write on their own rather than you actually copy from somewhere else. Because once you put in the citation means that you are telling me that you are actually copying this point, this word, and so forth from another place, right? So this is the reason why we actually ask students not to put in citation, right? This is why we advise the student not to do so. Huh? Okay, so that is the part. And as for the references, the only references that we require to put is the dataset URL. Okay, I will actually advise you to put the URL on the same answer. That means answer A itself, after finish writing, you put in the URL in there. If you don't want and you think that it's look very ugly, of course you can put it at the end of the answer. That means after you finish answer your question D, then in the next page you put in as a references, you put in the URL. Okay, it's entirely up to you. We did not force you either to put it in that particular answer or you put it at the end of the question paper, the answer paper. All right. Now let's look at point number 5. The LMS submission features an automatic check-in for the Turn-in similarity score and also AI detection. Therefore, students must ensure that the writing are original and properly paraphrasing when taking paragraph from the books or online resources. That's what I told you. You have to be very careful on this. So the maximum Turn-in similarity and also the AI detection are both 20% respectively. So in the other word, last time was 15%. Now we actually upgraded to 20%. So in the other word, you can actually have some similarity from what you actually see from the articles or from the book or from any other places, online material and so on, right? As well for your AI. So I would advise students that when you sign that AI form, make sure that you put as agreed to accept the 20%. I know that there's an option there that you says that you are not agreed and you say you do not use any AI and so forth. But once AI percentage is detected, you will get a 0, right? So it's best that you accept it as 20%, and then you're supposed to put in the details like which website you're going to put in. I would advise you to put in google.com or bing.com, right? Because why? Google.com already integrated with Gemini, and then also Bing.com already integrated with Copilot, and these both are AI-based kind of uh, application. So you can actually put these two in. Of course, you can put others. Maybe you use ChatGPT and so on, right? So make sure that you actually put it in to safeguard yourself. I'm not asking you to what you call that, put it in to say that yes, you use this. No, it's just to safeguard yourself in case that the articles that you copy, all right, the author actually does use some of the AI program to create that particular phrase and so forth. All right. So you be careful on this AI detection and also similarity. Now, one unfortunate news for you is that you are unable to check the AI similarity, right? Not like your continuous assessment that you can actually ask your lecturer, and your lecturer may tell you that you have a high AI detection, ask you to redo, and then you resubmit. If let's say after the date itself, you can actually submit at the late submission. In final, there is no late submission at all, right? Not even the next second. And then as well, no late will be entertained. So in the other way, you can't come and tell me that, sir, the internet is not working. Can you extend another 5 minutes and so forth? I don't think so. Your lecturer will accept that. Okay, unless you say that on the day that you are actually wanted to do the submission, you are sick and then you're admitted to hospital or you get a MC and so on, you may actually send to the SM center. If the SM center accepted it, you will get a status of SX, special consideration. We are not going to accept your answer. You have to receive that particular final again the following semester or the following offering of the subject, right? So this is where we will actually give you a clear understanding of your project assessment and so forth. So in this project assessment must be submitted on the deadline as tabulated in the cover page of the paper, the question paper, and no submission are allowed. That's the end of the question paper, all right? And of course, the following will be the, what I call that, your rubric or assessment criteria. This you no need to put it into your answer, all right? We will actually print it out when we actually put up your score and so forth. As you'll be able to see that there are 4 categories, okay? Category 1, 2, 3, and 4. Category 4 will be the poor, where you have data set very poor, or your explanation is very poor, and so on. So based on this is where you'll be able to see that objective 1, objective 2, prediction 1, prediction 2, and action 1, action 2. But of course, in each one of that, you'll be able to see that over or under word count, okay, what are the marks will be deducted, and so forth. So try not to actually go over the wording set limit that you actually put it for you, all right? And then here, the fixed deduction will be based on the similarity, your AI detection, and also wrong submission. Why wrong submission? Yeah, because the requirement here asks you to submit a DOCX. I know that some of you will going to submit as a PDF. So please don't do that. If you're going to submit as PDF into the LMS itself, we're going to deduct 2 marks based on the wrong submission. All right. Now, this will be your question paper. And let's look back into the question paper. This is where you need to do the declaration. Okay. After you have submitted the declaration, then you have to submit the AI declaration form. And this is what I mean that when you click over here, when you submit, you put as yes, accepted the 20%, and then you ask you to put in the URL and so forth. Please put in the respective URL. Right? So these are the things that you need to be aware of when you actually do your submission. Now, let me look at the question. Okay, student here asking about snipping tools. Can you please explain how we can show it in our assignment? Actually, snipping tools is not something that you show it in your assignment. The snipping tools is an option that you can actually use in your Windows 11, right? Those who are using Apple, I really do not know how you can do that. Like for instance, snapshot, all right? In Apple, you also can do snapshot, right? You can actually click on the corner, then you get a snapshot of your screen. So when you get the snapshot of your screen, you only cut the part that you wanted and paste it inside your, what you call that, the answer, all right? Later, I'm going to do a demonstration on how you actually do the snipping tools in the Windows environment. Okay, let me finish off this part first. Okay, submission of the project, you will see that one is turning in. The turning in is where you actually submit your contents on it, the DOCX file. It's already written here, right? And then the submission of your supportive document is where you're going to have your data set, which is either Excel SX or CSV, and your Power BI, which is your PBIX file. So in the other way, you only have total 3 files. One, your assignment content. The second submission based on the supportive document is where your data set and also your Power BI report. All right. So these are the 3 files. The only difference is that from your assignment individual is we do not have MP4, so you don't need to do recording and so on. All right. So this will be your assessment for your project individual. All right. So let's come back to the slides. Okay. In the slide itself, these are the 4 things that they actually put. Though in details just now I did mention the data and also the data set and also the ethic is fashion industry. So select one data set and must provide your URL. So briefly describe data ethics. That's why you see I highlighted the word you, right? So limit to 100 words only. Descriptive, which is your B, perform the relevant data analysis task using some data mining techniques. So I just put such as, that's mean, for example, I didn't ask you to use all. You can use classification, association, and time series, and so forth. And all this does not wanted you to use other application. It just only to explain or to look into the visualization that you wanted to create. All right. So create 2 different analysis objectives. The answer must include the insight screenshot, which is using a snipping tools on your description or descriptive analysis. All right, limited to 700 words. 40 marks. Predictive, which is your question C. Based on the descriptive insight, you make 2 logical predictions, which is the visual analytic for your manager on the relevant department. Okay, so this is also tabulated in the question just now I have explained. Answer may include the insight screenshot. So on the descriptive, your answer B itself is a must to include screenshot. Here, you may. All right, that's why I already told you just now. May means what? If you don't put, you may not get the higher number or the higher marks. All right. So limited to 400 wording. In prescriptive itself, you take a predictive data to the next level. Okay, 2 logical action and limited to 300 wording. Right. So these are the requirements of your question. Now, points to note. Warning instruction, like just now I already told you, you have to read it carefully. Don't go off topic. Not allowed for you to do things like your material topic, discuss in the lab and so forth, especially superstore and the best worst state of retirement. Okay. And then submission of your BI report, which is your PBIX file, your XLS, okay, with a valid URL to prove your compulsory. All right. No synthetic, fictional, or own created, or even sample data. What does it mean by own created? Yeah, I know that sometimes you say that, sir, can't find one data that is suitable. I found a few data. Then you can copy this data and put it inside the Excel so that make it into one data set, and then you use that data set. So in other words, that is not ethical, right? It's not allowed. So own creation kind of data set is not allowed, right? Now, careless mistakes student normally encounter or actually does is that during the submission, not all files are being submitted, especially the PBIX file. Now, there's only 2 reasons why the PBIX file is not being uploaded. First thing is that you totally forgotten about it. Second thing is that you did not actually do the visualization. You actually copy from somewhere, ask someone to do the assignment and so forth. So this is the reason why that we actually seized the issue and we wanted the student to submit the PBIX file as well. Okay, did not declare the AI detection acceptance form. Yeah, a lot of people skip that, right, and don't want to sign that particular form. If you don't sign that particular form, and then end of the day, if the AI detection similarity is high, and you did not declare, no marks will be given to you. All right. So this is very alarming. Wrong file format submitted to Turnitin. Turnitin asking you to submit a docx file. Yeah, you go and submit a PDF file, and marks will be deducted based on that. All right. Overwording, just now already explained to you. Now, advisable not to insert any citation. I also did explain to you why no citation is being needed to be added. Right. So this is your revision of your question paper. If you have any question, you can ask now. And I think I already have answered this as well. One of your students actually put me an email and asked me, after reading the question paper, I wonder whether techniques like classification, clustering can be done in Power BI or we need to use such thing called Python. Like I told you just now, in this syllabus, there is no other application involved, covered, other than Power BI. So if you actually do Python inside here, I will not give you any mark as well. Because why? I'll consider that there is no mark for you. Because this syllabus only cover Power BI. So you only need to do some Power BI kind of visualization like what you have did in your assignment individual. So you no need to be so I call that go into in-depth to create, because this is just only an introductory subject. Now, why? Because he says that he has searched for several tutorials from it, and sometimes it requires you to do coding. Yeah, Python is coding, so you don't need to do that. So it's best that you don't need to actually use any of these to create your results. All right. So any other question from you or from the floor? Now is the time that you can ask questions, right? I think I have answered the question which says about snipping tools. I can show you shortly. Now, any other questions that you guys wanted to ask me, or you have in mind to ask? I am waiting. Anyone wanted to open the mic and talk to me, or you have anything, you can type it and put it into the chat session. Hello, anybody home? I hope I have answered the two questions earlier that I actually posted, right? Now, let's look into what it calls snipping tools and so forth. All right. So we're going to share the screen. All right. This is in your normal words documents. Let's say you type your answers. Okay. Okay, let's say the first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, so forth. Right? First paragraph, this is your answer A for example. Right? So this is your answer B for example. Okay, what will happen? Okay, let's see what will happen. Okay, I do the automatic, the same thing, I do the automatic, this, uh, now, let's say this is your second answer. Let's put it into the second page. Okay, how you do? Control Enter. You go to the second page. So you have page 1, page 2. So in the other word, let it be page 1, nothing here. Page 2, that's on it. So you do not need to actually put in the cover page and so forth. Straight away, put your answer and so on. All right. I hope that you still remember your Power BI. So let me show you your Power BI. This is your Power BI, right? I think you have done this in your lab 3. Okay, you have this and so forth. Now let's say I wanted this to be put in into my answer. Right. So all I have to do in Windows itself, you can actually do a print screen. Right. So in print screen, there are options that you can actually crop whatever you want. So like for instance here, I just wanted to crop this particular file and then I will actually go back to my Words document. Right. In my Words document, all I have to do is I paste it here. Let's say inside here and the paste it over here. See, this is what I actually have copied and so forth. I put in the answer together with this. Now you realize that I just put in the answer by pasting it, and I do not actually do anything else. All right. Like for instance, some of you may say that, oh, you need to put in the table number. Like for instance, at the bottom there, you're gonna put in table, let's say now, let's say I put in here as table 1, right? And it's called, let's say, a graph. Okay, so what you have to do, you just put it in the center so that it actually looks like this belongs to this table and so on, right? But anyhow, I did encourage students no need to put anything like that. Why? Because it's an answer. Like say, put it in the same page itself, right? For that answer, and then B will go for another answer. This is one of the reasons why it will be best that you actually don't need to put this. Why? It will also increase your number of wordings that you're gonna have. See here, the number of wording. So it's best that leave it this as it is. All right. So when it comes to answer number B, let's say, hey, you need to put in another graph to show them. Let's say I put in another graph. Okay, this time, which graph I'm going to put in? I put in this graph. What I have to do is just print screen, right? And I just crop whatever that I wanted to highlight. Okay, and then all I have to do, go back to my words. Okay, and then I paste it in. Now, same thing, I do not need to put in any of the, what we call that, the table or figure number and so forth to show this is a graph and so on. Why? Because I wanted to maximize the number that I have or the number of wordings that I have. But then, sir, if I have two, how am I going to differentiate whether this paragraph belongs to this or not? But pasting it like that looks weird, right? You have a lot of empty space and so on. In Words itself, you can actually use this. Okay, this is where your layout option that you can actually click on, and all you have to do is use the text wrapping. Like for instance, most of the time, a student to use something called the type. Okay, you want to know which of that, every one of it, you just hover your mouse on it, you'll be able to see the icon, what it's referring to. So I use type. When I click type, you see that automatically it will go together with the wording itself. So how I can know that this paragraph is showing for this? Yeah, this is how I normally ask students to do. You can actually put in a smaller graph. Okay, and then you can refer to the graph on the right hand side or the left hand side. It's entirely up to you, right? How you gonna answer this and so forth. So the next one, maybe you're gonna have another what you call that another chart you can actually put it in and so right. So this is where I says that is how you're going to create your answer. All right. And that is where the snipping tools is all about. Coming to the questions that posted by your classmate. So on the snipping tools, yeah, that is how the snipping tools are actually being look like. All right. Any questions based on snipping tools? Okay, I have one classmate here who actually says, if I have a link in syntactic, so how many marks or points will I be deducted? Okay, let's put it this way. There is no marks deducted. Now, sounds fantastic, right? Actually, not really. Let me show you the rubric again. Now, why do I say is that there is no marks deducted? Remember the rubric here? Now, if you give me a syntactic data, by right, I should give you 0 marks. It's supposed to be here. But definitely, most of the time, I won't give you 0. Even the lecturer won't give you zeros. Maybe the lecturer will give you 1, maybe give you 2, depending on how the lecturer do that. And also, if your lecturers put in that, I will also accept that. All right. Now, if you are actually put up at this level, the 4th level, all your others answer for B, C, and D will be at this level. So that's why I say that that is no deduction of mark. It will be based on what data that you have, okay, and then how you are able to see that whether your level of marks will be awarded based on where it goes. So this is where the important part. Now, if let's say your lecturer put you at number 2, that means your data set 2 marks, okay, showing lack of originality and so on. Instead of putting to the poor, okay, you put it into the number, 3rd level. So your marks will be all based on 3rd level. That means the maximum marks that you're going to have on your objective will be only 10 for each of the objective, 7 for each of the prediction, 5 for each of the action. So that is not calling or is actually not being named as marks deduction, right? It's actually based on where you falls on which category, right? I have answered your question based on the syntactic, right? So how do you know that you are actually have syntactic data and so on, right? So this is also quite interesting to know as well, right? So let's see how you can actually look at syntactic data. I have some data that some of the students have used, okay, as an syntactic data. So let's look at the things actually used. Okay, this, let's say, look at Kaggle. Okay, when you actually goes to Kaggle, this is where it actually shows. See that this is a dummy data. So if you know that it's a dummy data, please don't use them. All right, this is where I want students to learn to look into the real world, how people actually do, what actually other people did. Like for instance, yeah, this is a legitimate author. You actually have write quite a number of it, and you're talking about even this data itself or this article, he actually updated a year ago. Right? Doesn't mean that if let's say it says updated 5 years ago or 10 years ago cannot be used. No, you still can use. All right. The thing is that look at what they say. All right. Here, this data is a dummy data. Dummy data means it's actually a created. He actually generated by using a numph or numpython in the library called Python. So in other words, whatever data that he created over here in the CSV is not a real world data, right? So you have to be careful on this part. Okay. Second thing, right? Let's see if there's any others or not. Yes. Over here, let me see. I have others like, for instance, I think I do not have others that actually look into wrong data set. Only one I think I have created, which I wanted to show you guys. Okay, much more understandable. So this is the data set that actually I see is that should be given you. Okay, some of them will tell you that this is used for my what you call that assignment. Okay, if it says that used for the assignment, better don't use. All right, so these are the synthetic data or dummy data that we use. Right, so understand them so that you don't apply that as your what you call that your answer. All right. Any other questions? Any other question from you all regarding the assignment? I still see student coming in. All right. Any questions so far? If no question, then I'll go to your full revision, which is also going to take a very short. I'm still confused about the link, the URL we're going to put into the last page. Okay. What do you mean by last page? Okay, let's see. Okay, let's put it this way. Now, I did say that it depending on you whether you're going to put the references or not going to put the references. Okay, let's see. If let's say this will be the data set that you have used. So that this is a dummy data, okay? But this is the data set you're going to use. All you have to do, highlight the whole entire, copy them, Control C, right? Goes to your answer. Just now I have created the answers of your words documents, right? Let's say here, this is where you're talking about the data set. So all you have to do is just put in the URL for your data set, all right? And then you paste it there. That will be done, all right? Now, some of you may not wanted to put it this way, all right? You don't want to put it this way. Yes, at the end of your last page, let's say you have another page, it's your last page, you can put it as reference, okay, as your title, and then you can put in the URL, and you paste it here. This is how you can actually do the answer. If you wanted to have a reference at the end of the page, okay, this is what you do. All right. If you don't want, you can actually answer it in your A straight away after you put in the ethic and so forth. You put in the URL for your data set and you paste that particular data set here. See, when your lecturer receives this, you will actually either click on it to go to that particular URL, or you will just copy, okay, copy the link, and then it goes to your whichever new page that you're gonna have, okay, your website, and make sure that when your lecturer or me and I paste that particular URL that I just copied from your answer and I press enter, will come to here. All right. Not like, for instance, example, if you put in just only Kaggle, the generic, okay, the generic will show you this, right? This is the generic. If you copy this and you go to your answer, okay, what you do is that instead of you put in just now the average, okay, you put in Kaggle and you press enter. So when I actually, or your lecturer, copy that particular link, And when it goes to the link and paste it here, you get only this link itself. Your marks will be either go to the level 3 or level 4. Right? So in other words, you do not actually give us the original link or the URL for your data set. Right? I hope I have explained, clarified. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? You're most welcome. Any other questions from you guys? Okay, if no questions, okay, we're going to go back to the revisions. We have a bit more. We just finish it, then call it a day. Okay. Final revision. So let's look into the final revision. This is some additional knowledge that we're going to put it into you. I have already explained about the question. So some of the questions that posted by your classmate I already answered. Hopefully that I have fulfilled all your doubts and so on. Okay, let's look into the additional things. Remember your lab 3? I think just now I also show you what is your lab 3. Okay, this is your lab 3, right? So let's see is that what you still remember. Okay, we created an overview and also dashboard. At this current moment, we don't call it whether dashboard or not, or whether reports. Whatever you do is just create the visualization and put it into your answer, right? So it's possible. And then, of course, whether from that itself you'll be able to create additional or not. Of course, you can do additional, like for instance, here itself on the PBIX that I have created. You also have page 2 that I created, line graph, and you can actually have a report too. So the other word, you can actually change this one instead of overview and so on. It can be page 1, page 2, page 3. It's up to you. Just that you can actually create many pages for your visualization, or if you don't want, you can put everything into one page and also you submit that particular PBIX file to be able to, right? So this is where you'll be able to understand some of the things here that are additionally insightful, like for instance, subcategory you can create, you can actually do a line graph, and sales and also profit is entirely up to you what type of things that you wanted to create. Now, this is where getting interesting now. So in the other word, Power BI can do additional things that can be done. Like for instance, I told you that prediction. I hope that most of you guys have practiced and played with it before, and where actually the prediction can be done in one of the visualization. I'm not going to tell you the answer because I can't tell you the answer. You have to find it out yourself. In one of the visualization, you can actually go to the setting and just click in how many months or how many days or how many weeks or how many minutes that you wanted to do the prediction over how long and so forth. What are the assumptions that you wanted to put it in and so on. You'll be able to create you with a proper visualization graph. And then you can actually explain from there and so forth. This is why that we encourage you to practice on how to use your Power BI. And then also, I already mentioned that in Power BI, there are actually more than 40 of visualization that you'll be able to see. Like for instance, over here, you'll be able to see all the visualization. All this icon itself is one of the what I call way that you can create your visualization. In regardless what type of visualization you wanted to create, it based on the objective that you wanted to do for fashion. Like for instance, maybe you're looking to G2000 in Vietnam itself, how is the sales and so on. So this is related to fashion, right? See, I'm giving you an example. Hopefully you don't really go find 2000 and do 2000 and every one of you do that, all right? So of course, there are more than just one example. There are so many others and so on. As long as you don't put in McDonald's as one of your data set to create your fashion, definitely I think McDonald's is not in fashion industry, right? McDonald's is in fast food industry or food and beverages industry and so on. So try not to go off topic, right? And I know that a lot of students will come and ask your lecturer and says that the data is very hard to find and so forth. Actually, it's the data is not hard to find. It's a matter of where to find, all right? Because earlier in the lab also, in lab 3 also, we have shared 3 of the website that you can actually go. One of them is your Kaggle, the other one is W, the third one will be your Google data search. Because in Google data search also, you'll be able to find a lot of data which is actually free to download. But of course, please don't use the data that you need to create a users, then only you'll be able to view the data. Like for instance, if you share us with that and we click on it, it requires us to sign in, then only be able to view, you will get your marks well. All right, you either fall in category 2 or category 3. Okay, so these are some of the things that you need to understand about. All right, now in here itself, there's something called PY. This is Python. That's why I told you guys in Power BI itself is not refrained just only to use the visualization to create from the data set. Of course, you can, if you know how to do coding, you can actually click on to this visualization to put in the code in to create for you, or you can actually use something called the R script visualization as well. You see, that is why no limitation in Power BI. And the question was asked by one of your classmates is that, yes, you actually found it from the internet, and he was actually mentioning, asking you to use the Power BI, Python to create such a thing. I didn't say that you need to do so. And I also didn't say that you need to click on to this, what you call that, visualization to create, because why? You are not covered with Power Python in your syllabus, all right? You just work within what you learn from your syllabus. The part that I put in the association, the classification is for you to understand. And then also in classification, you also know that what are the graphs that and how the graph will look like. And you'll be able to find some of the graph from here and so forth to create that particular visualization that you requires to do. All right. And doesn't mean that it's a must to have a classification. You must have an association. The matter of how you create the descriptive result is more important. All right. So that is just only to tell you additional ideas or additional knowledge that you can use for your answering in that particular results. All right. Now, let's look into the introductions. We put into a bit basic to understand what is the business analytics. And you've been sitting in this subject for the past weeks. You're talking about months. So what is business analytics to you? Is it important? Is it interesting? Or is it just only another business terms and so on? So let's look into it. In the process of transforming data into insight or to improve the business decision, insight means deeper, right? To give you more details and so forth. So this is where your data transformation is all about. And also data management, data visualization, prediction model, and so forth. All these are being taught in our, what you call that, our syllabus, right? In the chapters that you actually have gone through, all right? Just look at the blue color answer. Transforming data into insightful to improve your decision. So in the other word, in business analytics, the most important part is how you're going to improve your decision making. So let's explore more. Okay, today's topic, we're going to talk about the three major types of business analytics. Okay, it may not be new to you, but yeah, some of you may have forgotten about this because we did discuss about this in chapter 1, right? So let's look into the three things that you'll be able to see, right, in your business analytic type of analytics, right? So this is business analytic. We look into descriptive, the first, right, which is your question B, right? Then we look into the predictive, which is your question C. And also question D, where is your prescriptive. So when you break down these three different analytics, what are the things that you see? Question people talk about will be things like what had happened, what is happening. That is where descriptive. We call it the historical data. And that's where you get all those data that are available in the internet to create a result. Right? Based on your visualization, you'll be able to tell what is actually the company face or and so forth. All right. Like for instance, just now the example of say profit and loss, right? Two objective day. So you actually shows that this is their profit for the past quarter, or their losses for the past quarter, right? For prediction is what will happen. So in the other word, you're going to predict that in the next 3 quarter or 2 quarter, what will be their sales like, what will be their losses will be, and so on. So these are the questions normally you're going to ask yourself. You're going to create the answers and so on. Now, once you got the results of your prediction, what are you going to do about it? What should I do? Right? What should I ask the company to do? This is where your prescriptive, your answer, your question to your D, where it asks you the action that you wanted to promote, recommend to the organization based on the descriptive that you found out, the past record, and the prediction that you're going to predict, and you're going to give them the action so that they will not fall into the prediction that you actually shows them. Like for instance, they're going to make losses. So how are you going to tell them that what action to take or what remedy to take so that you won't get those losses that you have. So you see, this is how in the first place, the things are being explained to you in chapter 1. And in fact, the question for your final is where your whole entire chapters are going to involve, which is your descriptive, your predictive, and also your prescriptive. So what are the enablers for all this? First thing in the descriptive is the business report. Like for instance, in your assignment 2, you learn how to create the reports. That's why you see in your question B, it asks you to create 2 objectives based on that. And the 2 objectives is what? Is your reporting. All right. So what you're going to create and your analysis and so forth. For prediction, that is where it comes in like data mining, text mining, and so on. And all these have been discussed in the chapters of this syllabus. But in the chapters in this syllabus, did it ask you to use any coding application, like for instance, Python or R analysis, or even any others like C++ or C# and so forth? No, right? Because why? It's not being covered in this syllabus. All you have to do is just create that particular visualization. And based on the visualization itself, how you're going to use this type of explanation of data mining or text mining and so forth to explain your visualization. And lastly, when it comes to the prescriptive, is where you're going to be, how you're going to optimize them, what you're going to recommend them to use, what are you going to recommend them to do, the action that you wanted to give to them. So that is where the outcomes that you're going to give for your descriptive is where a well-defined kind of business problem, right? And that is also part of the answers that in your assignment individual as well, right? The finding of what you have. And same thing goes for your B, your answer B itself, right? And in predictive, the accurate projected, the projection that you actually given to them. That's why when you create the projection, the predictive things that you projected, and end of the day is where you're going to do something like the best possible way or decision for the company to take action. All right. So you see, this is what actually the whole entire syllabus is talking about. The three major types of business analytics: your descriptive, your predictive, and also your prescriptive. All right. Now, further explain what is descriptive. This is where you talk about historical data, and then you're going to look into things that what is had happened. Okay. And from that itself, you do a visual data representation, meaning that you create a line bar, pie chart, histogram, and so forth to give the presentation. So for this reason itself is the core for every day that in organization actually wanted, right? Don't talk about organization. You talk about we ourselves as individual. Do we actually look into all this? It's just that we do not create the graph out, but every day students are thinking of what kind of CGPA that I should get. And everyone is looking into how to improve it, and what should I do. And the prediction is that what prediction that I have. If I'm not going to make it, what will be my results? If let's say I make it, what will be my result? That's why you actually projected what is your results in the future. And then what action you're going to take. The action is that are you going to study harder or you're going to change the format of studying and so on. You see, not just only in organization, in day to day, we are also using that. Just that we do not put it into graph, we do not put it into wording to tell us that we are actually in there, right? So in this subject is where you're going to learn how to put them into use. Predictive, on the other hand, will give you the probabilities of your assessment, what will happen in the future. All right. Moreover, all this is actually based on the statistical algorithm, or we call it the machine learning itself. But we did not actually cover in this subject or this syllabus that machine learning. The machine learning, if you want to get more information, is actually covered in chapter 5. Right? Chapter 5 and chapter 6, which where the machine learning is all about. Why we did not put it into the syllabus is because machine learning and also neural network is more technical and is not suitable for business student. So we are business student, okay? We prefer to actually confine ourselves to understand on the application process with you rather than actually goes into technical, like how you're going to put the machine learning on and so forth. No doubt machine learning has become one of the popular topics in the real world. So if you guys wanted to have more additional knowledge, yes, you can actually look into chapter 5 and also chapter 6, which if you have the textbook. All right. So it can be also solving problem, okay, based on the statistic algorithm, right? Like the predicted kind of results. So you won't actually apply it or you're not going to make it happen and so on. So this is where you're going to be able to see it in your predictive analytic. And the last one will be your prescriptive analytic. In prescriptive analytic, this is where you're going to show you your potential action based on the what I call predicted. Like for instance, I told you that when you predicted that you going to fail the next subject, what you're going to do? Your action will be what? Your action will based on that you know that you're going to fail, and you have to make sure that you don't fail it. How are you going to make sure you don't fail it? Review back all the whatever slides that you have and make yourself more understandable into that particular subject and so on. Right? Do attempt some of those posted questions or articles and so forth to read through to make yourself more understandable, how you're going to apply them and so on. So when you read the question, that's why the first question, the first option or the first notice I put it up is that you need to read the question carefully, right, to understand the question. If you do not understand the question, ask your lecturer. All right. So borrow heavily from the mathematics and also computer science to use a variety of statistics method. So that's why it depends on your prediction. The prediction uses the statistical method, which actually come from the mathematics and also computer science. So also closely related to both descriptive and predictive. Remember, I told you that descriptive and predictive is the one that actually create the prescriptive analytic. And prescriptive analytic, there is no visualization. Your visualization are still using back either the descriptive visualization or the predictive visualization. So the ability to measure the repercussions of the decision base, okay, and then create or recommend the best course of action. Bear in mind, as a business analyst, we do not make decisions. We only recommend. Remember, in your assignment group, the part 5 itself is where you do the recommendation. We do not actually make the decision. We recommend to the department to tell them what will be the possibility and what is the best action to take, right? So this is where we do the recommendation. And recommendation is not conclusion. You always have to remember that. So business can harness the power of prescriptive analytics to a variety of ways, like what we call optimizing. So we optimize whatever it is. Like for instance, you may be thinking that because of the tariff that actually done by the US and everything have increased, what will be the best optimization that we should apply on our daily life? Like for instance, a lot of people says that, oh, instead of eating 3 meals, I'm gonna eat 2 meals or 1 meal. Is it the ultimate solution, or is it optimizing the solution? Really, not really. Because why? If you say that you're going to reduce your meal, instead of 3 meals a day, you take 1 meal a day, what will happen to you? You will lose out a lot of vitamins or minerals and so forth. Why? And you may be causing yourself to sickness and so on. What will happen then? You're going to use more money because you have to go and see doctor and get yourself fixed up and so on, right? So that's why you have to look into the optimization of it. Now, maybe I still take 3 meals a day. Instead of 1 meal, I'm actually getting 3 different kind of dishes or 4 different kind of dishes into my meal. Now I reduce it maybe to 2 different dishes or 3 different dishes. And then also make sure that the dishes that I'm going to take will be balanced out on the nutrition that I'm going to have. You see, all these have become part and parcel of what we call analytics. You are actually analyzing and put it into your daily life without you knowing, right? We are just merely putting it into a syllabus so that you actually understand what is called analytics, how you're going to apply the analyzation, and so forth. So this have become part and parcel will be in your future life as well. Because why? You only have certain amount of pocket money, and how you're going to make yourself healthy and also would not be costing more costing into it and so forth. This is where you do your budgeting. From the budgeting itself, you analyze what kind of food you're going to eat. Instead of going to the restaurant, maybe you go to a cheaper restaurant and you eat the very same kind of food and so on, rather than you always have to eat cuisine food and so on. Now maybe you're going to eat something which is local food, right? So this is where the optimization will have to look into your prescriptive analytics. Based on what? Based on your descriptive and also your prediction. All right. So what should we do about it? So in fact, this is supposed to be a game. I don't know whether you have enough time to play the game or not. I may wanted to skip the game now, right? So when I skip the game now, I'm going to go through the next part of the explanation, right? So what is the next part of the explanation? So this will be the next part of it. They're talking about the three things, all right, the three pillar, the descriptive and the predictive and also the descriptive. So how are you going to put it into an examples? Let's put it into an examples. Like for instance, here, long time ago, far away, okay, a deadly virus had outbreak. Oh, this one sounds familiar, right? I think most of us are actually in this dilemma a few years back. But looking at the WHO report, it seems like this virus is coming back. So all of us have to be more cautious, okay, and be more careful, right? In where you go, and then what you should wear, and so forth, right? So let's look into this example. Patient is getting more and more, and this and everyone will know, okay, when the deadly virus outbreak and so forth, there are more and more what you call patient coming into the hospital. Now, what has happened? Virus outbreak, the patient flowing in. This is what you already know. This is your what you call historical data. And that is where you're going to understand virus outbreak and also patient flowing in. For example, the date of accuracy, the volume, the patient details, and etc. All these have become part and parcel that you'll be able to create the graph out and so forth. Now, that also maybe involve things like that, which I think during the pandemic time, these things happen. And then hopefully that it will not happen again, right? This is where we're going to predict and so on. So this is what we call the descriptive. Now, let's go on further. Since the outbreak, need to prepare, right? You need to know whether the worst or whether better, right? So these are two of the things that you need to look into. Okay, based on the pattern of the data, the virus spreading at a rapid rate, it could be good or it could be bad, right? So in many cases, you look into whether you're going to increase or not, right? Or it may be reducing. You're reducing, then you'll be very happy. Then you no need to do things, more things, right? But what if, let's say, it still continue increasing? They become alarming, right? So it will be likely to happen again. So similar like current moment, a lot of what I call that the health in that health government are looking into things like how we're going to protect it again. If let's say COVID-19 got the outburst again, what will happen? Okay, and that is why you see not many news actually talking about it. And then a lot of time your health minister will tell you that you no need to lock yourself in somewhere else as well. Just have to take the MC, then go home, take a rest, and then take the medication and house arrest, and so on, right? So this is where the prediction will be. Now, after the prediction, to wrap up the story, knowing that the virus is spreading, so what we should do about it? So this is where something that you have to look into it. You have to do part of the recommendation, like for instance, increase more staff. This is where you wanted to do, right? Second thing, add more beds. So you're going to add more beds into your hospital so that you prepare that the number of people will be flowing in, so forth. And of course, bring in more medicine, which is the most important part, right? So you need that medicine in case that you have a lot of patients fogging in and so forth. And of course, other things that will be involved, like manpower and so on. All these have become part and parcel, all right? Spaces, maybe you're going to rent a hall and so forth so that you can add additional, or the car park itself, you're going to convert that into a temporary hospitals and so on. So all these have become part and parcel what you call the prescriptive. So this is how we explain the three little things that you're going to have, get the three pillar, and how you're going to apply them into your answer. So now this is the part where you're going to have Q&A as well. Additional Q&A if you guys, any of you have any question to ask and so forth. So I hope that I have clearly explained about the final project paper and then your revision based on the final paper answer. And I hope that you have no other questions or no doubt about the questions and things that you need to do and so forth. But if you want to ask me where to get data for the fashion industry, I really can't tell you. Okay, the only place I tell you is that we already have published the area that you can find the data. I mean, free data, right? So you may actually go to Kaggle there and type in on the search for fashion and so forth. Right? You see, I'm giving you hints and so forth, giving you tips. And like I told you, I cannot give you the answer. You cannot say, yeah, this is actually G2000. They have the data here. What objective should I put? Oh, I already created these two objectives. Can that be accepted or not? Please don't ask this question to your lecturers. All right. I know that your lecturer really wanted to help you, but the thing is that some of the things that we should not be actually helping overboard. Right. Any question? The time now is 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock over in Vietnam, right? We have gone through 2 hours and 8 minutes of recording. So the other one means that we have really done, we have already finished our revision, right? So if you do not have any questions, ask further, and this will be the end of our revision, right? Anything that you guys wanted to ask? Anything at all? Don't ask for answer. There's anything at all other than answer.
I think we haven't had some questions from other.
All right.
But by the way, I would say, yeah.
Come again. I didn't hear your questions.
Someone asked you questions. You can check the podcast.
Okay. When we write report with my own words, can we write I or V? Okay. Good question. Let's go back to the question paper. All right. Your question paper here mentions that as a business analyst of a company, so definitely that you need to know that which company that you need, okay, and which data set you're going to use, right? Like for instance, my example, I was using G2000, right? So meaning that you are a business analyst of G2000, right? Yes, when you actually put the recommendation, you can actually use I or V, right? But normally you won't waste this type of number of wordings inside your answer. Okay, make it generic, right? Yes, you can use I or V inside there, but then again, like I said, go direct for the answers on the finding and so forth. You don't need to put down things like from my point of view, or I have created such a visualization on it. You just put straight away the answers like the visualization of the explanation will do, right? But I did not say that you cannot. Yeah, you may actually put if you wanted to, right? It's just that try to learn them to put it into more generic. Why I actually say this way is that you would not be required to put in I or V in your final year paper, thesis paper as well. You see, when you read the articles or any of the thesis that being done by others, classmate or even other university and so forth, you won't be seeing that people writing I or V, other than when you put on the recommendation and so forth, or the introduction, you will see that the I and V. When we actually goes into deeper, like for instance, the finding and so forth, normally the I and V would not be actually used, right? So you have to learn and practice using that way, right? Hopefully I have answered your questions, right? And I hope that you are clear with that as well. Any other questions other than this? Did I answer all the questions that actually posted? If no other question, I'm going to end the recording. I'm going to stop the recording, but I will be still online for a while. If you guys have any question to ask, okay? Until if everything is comfortable, then we will exit out from the session, right? So I'm going to end the recording now. All right, somebody asked a question. I did not end the recording yet, okay? In assignment document, I don't really need assignment cover page. Yes, you do not need. Yes, you just answer directly, like just now I have shown you guys, all right? Directly in your sample here that I showed you, answer directly, okay? On page 1, this is page 1, answer directly. Then go to page 2 for question B and so forth. If you have references you wanted to put, yes, you can put the references. Do not put in the what you call that cover page and so forth. Just cover page and so on will be able to increase your number of similarity, right? Yeah, talking about that, I just wanted to clarify with the students, okay, especially in MGT212. Some of you may thinking that why are we using Power BI for this subject? Why can't we use Excel? Why can't we use Google Analytics? Why can't we use W or any other kind of application and so forth? Now, just to update you, MGT212 is just only one part or one of the subject among the subjects that we have with doing analytics. Because other subject may be using other application, like other subject like SAS. We're using the SAS analytics for one of our subject. We also use Excel in most of the analytics subject and so forth. So in order to do that, not to clash with most of the application being used, this is why MGT212 is just only using Power BI, right? Now the question actually mentioned that just now by one of your students that you need Python. Python, yes, I do teach Python, but unfortunately it's not for business student, it's for only business analytics student. We have different program in Help University here. One of the program is business analytic program. And yes, our business analytic program students need to learn Python. And then again, it's not incorporated into any other business program. Like for instance, you are taking the business program of health, okay? And business program does not require you to learn Python. And even MGT212 itself, the syllabus is just only covering Power BI. And also we do not cover Excel, we do not cover Python or R analysis and so forth, right? If you're going to put everything into one subject, I think the student itself won't be able to cope up, right? So that's why the Power BI is only applied for MGT212. And also, if let's say you know how to use coding or you use Power BI, Python or even R analysis, please do not apply it in the any of the subject unless the subject is covered with that particular component. if it's not with that component and you put it in, for us as a lecturer, we are unable to award you marks as well. No doubt you did it very nicely and you're using the, we call that the Python or the R analysis to create the visualization. But then again, it's not evaluated in this particular subject. So you have to bear in mind on this part, right? Now, the limited words are for each question, correct? The reference is not included in the limited words, right? Correct, right? And as you mentioned before, I also don't need to write the table title and ensure the limited words, correct? Yes. Whatever that you actually mentioned inside here, yes, I did mention in the explanation just now. Because of the word limits, you don't write the table title or the diagram title and so forth, right? And then also the references will not be included in the limited of words. So normally how I actually detect the number of words, I will start from the first right until to the last, excluding the URL. Like that itself is already 93 wording. You see that the number of wording is 93. So it is less than 100 wording. Even you put in the title or the topic title, like for instance, then you're going to put in something here as let's say B, you say that is descriptive. Descriptive as the title. All right. I will also highlight from here right until to the last wording. Okay, and then it tell you that how many wordings that I have. Now, this is the reason why I say that you don't put in the table title. Like for instance, if you're going to put in the table title here, let's say figure 1 is called the graph. Now, just now you remember it's just only 93 wording, right? But what if let's say graph for sales in 2022, let's say that. Now, when I want to put this one into as your title, so when I highlight from here right until to the last wording here, how many words I have? 100 words. You see, additional 7 words is being added. So that's why I advise you not to put in the figure number or the table number with the title and so on. So you can reduce that so they become one part where you will reduce your number of wording as well, right? I hope I have answered you that. Any other questions? At least our time still got student coming in. We already have ended, right? So you have to learn some what we call time management, right? Not to come in last minute because last minute we already finished. Okay, about the deduction of exceeding of word, I would like to clarify whether the deduction start exceeding 10% or the overall. Now, I just mentioned just now also, if let's say your wording is 100 wording and you give me 110 wording, the lecturers normally won't deduct your marks. But if let's say you have 111 marks, meaning that it's already exceeded 10%, we will deduct the whole entire 11%. So in the other words, we start deducting after the 10%. We only give a buffer of 10%, but please don't abuse it. Like I already explained just now, please don't abuse the number of wording buffer that given to you. The number of wording buffer given to you, it could be actually used against, like for instance here, right? This additional wording that you actually added on. So if let's say 100 wording, after you added the figure number, you get 103 or 110. So we do not actually deduct your marks. We give the buffer is for those that you actually accidentally put in the title, accidentally put in the what you call that references and so forth. All right, in your what you call your answer. Some of you may just forgotten and you put in citation. So you put on citation, we will actually take that as a buffer number, right? So try not to do that, because if you're going to put in the citation itself, we will consider that you are actually copying from somewhere, all right? And it's no longer your own wordings. Remember, we says that you need to write on your own words. So if you use that copy from somewhere, means it's not your ideas, it's not your understanding, you just merely copy from somewhere. And best part, nowadays you can easily access to any of the AI, right? And you ask the AI to write the answer for you and so forth, then you copy and paste on. And if let's say your AI similar or detection is more than 20%, think you have to face the board of director to look into your coursework and so forth, right? I hope I answered you this as well. Any other question? All right, if no question, I'm going to end the recording. Okay, the next question, if available, will not be recorded. All right. I'll be here for a few more minutes, or maybe by 3:30. If by 3:30 no other question, then we can end the session. All right. Okay, now you guys can relax lah. Huh? It's no longer recording session, so maybe you guys can open up your mic and talk to me. Anything. Okay, you can ask me anything. Okay, as long as I can answer you, I will answer you. So how is Hanoi weather today? Hot? Wet? Everyone are so serious, not answering. Or everyone is doing their own discussion among your group. Or actually nobody is listening.
A little bit hot.
A little bit hot. Yes.
Yeah. How about KL?
Malaysia, okay. Malaysia, past 2 days was very hot. Okay. This morning there's a little bit of rain. The temperature have reduced about 1 or 2 degrees, but yet it's still hot. I said now we are at about 35 degrees.
Oh my
Sounds
God,
hot,
it's
right? 35, yes. How about in Hanoi? I think it's about 28 like that, right?
It's 31 is right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right now it's 31. Oh, it's quite hot as well. Huh?
Yeah. It's hotter than the Ho Chi Minh City if you come. Have you ever come to Hanoi before?
Yeah, I've been there last year for revision, and this year supposed to come to Hanoi, but I don't know why the university actually required the online revision rather than face-to-face revision. So it's okay. Next week I'm going to Ho Chi Minh.
Oh, have a nice day.
Yeah, next week I'll be in Ho Chi Minh, one of the university, to do the revision for MGT212 as well.
So the same subject with another university.
Correct. The same subject in another university.
By the way, I would like to say that thank you so much for your guidance throughout
No
this.
problem.
Yeah.
I think you should thank your lecturer. Your lecturer are much more better. I think she did a very good job. I think she also did a lot of explanation to you guys. That's why I
Yeah.
think she left only the part where the final for me to discuss with you. And yeah, it's an interesting subject actually. I don't know how popular is it in Hanoi yet. Is analytic popular in Hanoi?
The popular analytic.
No, I
Let's see.
mean in analytic, is it popular in any of the
Ah,
organization?
it's like a new training in
It's a
our.
new thing after all, yes. Because if I'm not mistaken, before the pandemic, when I was actually doing a revision in Ho Chi Minh, at that time, they are still do not know what is analytic. Oh, at that time, I'm not doing the revision for this subject. It's at another subject called e-business, right? And I was there. The student was quite interested, and they asked me what is analytic, and that is where in 2018 or 2019, I think analytic is not popular in Vietnam yet at that time. But now I see a lot of what you call that seminar organized for analytics in Vietnam as well. It's good. It's good that the student can join those we call that seminar to understand deeper because a lot of organization in Hanoi or in Vietnam are actually looking into analytics as well.
We all know that data is a new oil, so maybe it's right now is like a new trend for student or another people they tend to learn the new thing. So especially the data analysis, like
Could be, yeah, could be. This is what I have started off the analytic program way back in 2018 in Malaysia, here in our university help as well. We have created quite a number of subjects, okay, which is actually mainly for analytics. It was not actually offered to your university. Your university only taken our program as a business study. So
sorry.
I hope that you're going to learn deeper into it, practice about Power BI, okay? Because Power BI will be a very useful application, especially a lot of organizations are under the platform of Microsoft because this Power BI is free of charge. You can download it anytime and use, and also the organization are using them. As long as you are in the Microsoft platform, you can use Power BI. That's why I think you also told me that quite a number of your students there are using Apple, right? That's why you have troublesome of how you're going to utilize the Power BI and so forth. That's why I told you the only alternative is that you either borrow your friend's notebook, okay, which is a Windows platform, to do your assignment. Because the common unit that you have in your faculty are not really up to the requirement that Power BI can run smoothly. I understand that as well. So sorry about it. And also you all were asking why Power BI and so on. Why not using other platform like Google platform that you can actually run on the cloud base and so forth. And Tabu is also one of it that can run on the cloud platform. The reason why we choose Microsoft Power BI is because Power BI is a what you call that premises-based kind of application, meaning that you have to reside in your PC rather than put it in the cloud. So when you put it in the cloud, the only issue that you're going to face is who owns the data. You see, a lot of organizations will look into this way. If let's say I can put it into the internet, all right, like I'm using any of those web-based kind of platform, the organization data will be up into the public. People be able to access to the data rather than I keep it into my own premises. That's why in Windows platform, your data is more secure because it's saved into your own environment rather than you drop it into the internet. So this is one of the reasons why I have chosen Power BI other than other kind of platform. We do the analytics, right? So this is how I share it with you guys if you are interested to know.
Thank you for your sharing.
No problem. It's my pleasure to share with you guys. So have you been to Malaysia?
Oh yeah, last year.
Oh,
All
you
over.
were here. All of
Yeah.
you are here for the ITC 101 class or what? Or marketing?
ITC 101, no.
So
Just
you do your marketing subject here, right?
yeah,
Your
MKT
MKT
301.
209 or 305?
3 is 301, 303,
301. I see. Year 3
302.
subject.
Yeah,
So you are here in Damansara campus or in Subang campus?
in Subang campus.
How you like our Subang campus?
It's quite fully.
I'm actually now in Subang campus
Oh,
in one of the classroom doing the online video.
I see.
I don't know whether you have seen me before or not. You should have seen me before if you are here in
Actually,
Subang.
I didn't remember.
You don't remember, you don't realize that I'm in here as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't known about you before.
How long you guys are here? 3 months?
Let's see, from January to April, it's more than 3 months.
More than 3 months, one semester.
Yeah, in total
Ah,
semester.
so nice. So you prefer here or you prefer back in Hanoi?
Quite hard to compare that. But anyway, in Supang is like it's nice place with cheaper, everything
Lot of
cheaper. Yeah,
cheaper.
cheaper.
Yeah, maybe if you actually put into that way, yeah, Subang may be cheaper comparing to Damansara. And then if you compare to Vietnam, yeah, a little bit cheaper. A little bit cheaper.
Yep.
I think the weather is more or less the same. The only thing that we are different from Hanoi is that our here is hot and not wet. Not really that wet. I think in Vietnam are more wet, right? I mean, you have more rain compared to Malaysia. We're talking about temperature is more or less the same.
In Vietnam, it's like the demographic, the geographic is divided into two parts. So in the north part, like Hanoi City, we have
It's
4
supposed to be
seasons.
colder, right? Do you have 4 seasons actually?
Yeah.
Really, 4 seasons?
You haven't know
Because
about that?
I don't think so. Hanoi have 4 seasons, right?
No, in
Your
Hanoi
four
we have
season,
yeah,
you,
from spring, summer. Right now is summer, autumn, and winter. But
but
for
your winter is not that cold. It's not like in Sapa, right? I think Sapa will have some snow, right?
yes, it's
Higher,
some
higher, higher altitude. You know where Sapa, right?
Yep.
Have you been to Sapa? I saw the picture so nice in Sapa.
Yeah, you should come to Sapa. It's a
I have
nice
not.
place. The
I don't
cold.
know. I one day maybe. I also have not visited Halong Bay. I think Halong Bay also a lot of people say it's nice.
For me, I would like to recommend you go to Da Nang.
Yeah, a
You
lot of people say Da Nang is nice as well.
yeah.
But I also some of the Ho Chi Minh student asked me to go to Dalat. Dalat is also not bad.
Yeah, Da Nang is like Sapa, but not really cold like Sapa.
And not really not as cold as Sapa. I think
Yeah,
Sapa have snow, right?
yeah, Sapa sometimes it has snow.
Yeah.
Not usually. Yeah.
Not usually, yeah. But then again, yeah, these are some of the places nice in Vietnam that I have not visited. Even in Hanoi also, I did not visit any other places rather than the hotel to the classroom back to hotel.
It's just short distance.
Yeah, short distance, walking distance, and I also go out and have some meal. I mean, hunt for food around the area. Did not go far away from the way that we stay.
So for the next time, I would you should go to the old quarter.
I do not know yet whether
Uh,
the next semester whether we are doing online or we're going to have face to face. I do not know. So if
but
it's
it's
online, then it will be similar like now. If it's a face to face, then we have to fly over to your country. Yeah.
yes. Okay.
Okay. So seems like no other questions here on the chat box. Okay. If no, thank you very much, all of you. Thank you, Hong. Okay. I hope to see you one day as well. And keep on practicing, especially your Power BI, okay, because you need to practice. If not, you will forget how to use them and so on. But I hope that this syllabus or this subject be able to help you guys in your future. And metaphors be with us, right? With all of you. Thank you very much. And see you guys.
Thank you, and wish
You're
you
most welcome.
you
You
well.
too,
Yeah.
everyone. Take care.
Yeah, and you too.